It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
I miss all my friends in school.
Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccine.
The Sweet and Smoky Salmon Rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another live edition of the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway on a beautiful Wednesday evening. News just seems to happen on Wednesdays. I mean, that's just how powerful Wednesdays are. So it's an honor to be able to do this show and bring it to you guys. Kelvin, Kofi, how are we doing? You guys look good. You look refreshed. You look ready to roll.
I'm good, man. I'm real good. Calvin, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful.
Doing wonderful. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Yeah, so as we said, man, just breaking news. News always seems to happen on a Wednesday, man. You know, so we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. I want to thank everybody for jumping in, watching us on YouTube and Facebook. Hopefully you guys got in here because we got a lot of things to talk about and converse about. We'll do all that in tonight's show, rather. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. And you can also download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on the Google and Apple Play Store. Just search MyJBN or MyBCSN. We are a part of the Black College Sports Network. And you can always find all of the shows that are part of the BCSN on the BCSN Pod Zone, your official home for all of the shows, the podcast format, audio only of our shows. So on today's show, yes, we will talk about the breaking latest news that's happened over the past 48 hours, which is the announcement of our new Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Miss Tiffany Dawn Sykes. I want to start just by quickly letting people know, A, it's Tiffany spelled with an I, and the hyphen is with the first name, not the last name. So it's Tiffany Dawn Sykes. I hear a lot of people go Tiffany Dawn Sykes, but no, it's actually Tiffany Dawn Sykes. So if we're going to say it, let's all kind of do it right, and let's all make sure we spell it right.
You got too much time on your hands, man. Great day. You broke it down to the fullest.
Sykes.
Sykes.
AD Sykes.
So look, hey, AD Sykes, exactly. So it's not AD Dawn Sykes, it's just AD Sykes. Okay. Yeah, I got a lot of time on my day, a lot of time on my hands today, Kelvin. Definitely, been a lot of conversating and talking, filling out spreadsheets and things like that. Anyway, we'll also get into talking about the post game South Carolina State, the big road win for the Rattlers, winners now of 4 straight. Our volleyball team got a big sweep went back to Huntsville, got another sweep. And they are rolling 6 in a row, 6-0 in conference play, sitting in first place. Of course, this is well, I was going to say this is Grambling week, but really it's Rambling week because, no G's. So we're going to honor Coach Jackson and no G's when we mention Rambling, But we got a good friend of the program, Curtis Ford, coming on, also joining us. We might even have a special guest coming on as well to join him in that segment. We're going to take it to the court as even in this October season, it's basketball season as well, folks. Yes, basketball practices have begun. Hopefully, by now you've had a chance to go watch the presser, the preseason interview with Coach Shalon Pillow. She will be joining us in the top of the second hour. We'll get a first take from her on the season. The first 2 weeks now of practices, I think, are underway, or they're in their second week. So we'll get a chance to get her evaluation as she is looking to totally rebuild and reshape this team. But let's talk about South Carolina State. I know Kofi was in the building. Funny thing, I was probably an hour away from everybody in Orangeburg as I was over in Columbia, South Carolina. But the Rattlers went on the road. For all intents and purposes, look, had a commanding three-quarter, 20-point lead. And then all of a sudden, very similar to what we did the last time we were in South Carolina State, we made it close, probably unnecessarily close in the fourth quarter. And what do you know? You got a game that comes down to the last possession. Thankfully, they never took the lead. South Carolina State never took the lead, as they did score a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter to make it or cut their deficit to 20-14. Defense stepped up when it had to in the end, secured the victory, takes home the bag. But there's a lot of things that people can nitpick about. But that's where we're going to go around the horn. Let's start with you, Kofi, since you were in attendance, to give us the vibe and the atmosphere. What's your take on the game? What were you what are your takeaways from the game on Saturday?
For the most part, it was a dominating performance by FAMU. I think that Coach Simmons and his staff understand Buddy Pugh and what they try to do schematically. And so both offensively and defensively. And so we were ready to play. When you play a Buddy Pugh team, you have to be ready to play for 4 quarters. It's never a 1-quarter game. You have to be ready to play the entire game. But we dominated. And I just think that with 10:46 left in the game, we should have been running the ball on 1st and 10. And also on 2nd and 10. Keep the clock moving. And for whatever reason, he decided to put the ball in the air. And the guy made a couple of great plays on the pass. But, I was like, dude, run the ball. And then he came back again and did the same exact play to the same exact dude that intercepted. I'm just like, okay, we cannot be stuck on stupid. We have to, what I'm saying? We got to make better play calls, better game, in-game management to fit the situation. If they do that, we leave Orangeburg, I believe, with the 20-0 with the shutout. You play field position, make the clock run, put them in difficult positions, and make them have to play. And so, it was the 2 touchdowns that they got were kind of interesting. But let me just say, I believe Shaq Davis is the best wide receiver in FCS, hands down. And maybe FBS. Right. I know he's going to be playing on Sundays. That dude there is a beast.
Is this his last year eligibility? Is this
I hope so. Because it's not. Dang.
It's not.
Hopefully it will be.
We need to send an agent up there and tell him to go on and go pro now.
Early.
Woo,
declare
that's
early,
Davis.
young man.
I'm sick of him.
Kelvin, takeaways from Saturday's game.
Defense was dominant, man. They had what, 3 interceptions. We held the opponent for the second week in a row under 300 yards of total offense, 256 to be exact. And so our defense is coming, and Isaiah Land missed about the last 2.5 quarters of that game because he got a little dinged up, and he came back in briefly, but he was pretty much out most of the game. And the end on the opposite side of him, I think what his name, Kamar Stevens, something like that. He is really coming. He's developing. I like what I see out of him, and so we got a 1-2 punch on our outside, and you still got Junta who can make plays when he's not double teamed on the inside. So, and of course Isaiah Major just making plays left and right, and Javon Morgan is the ball hog. Ever since he's been playing, man, he just finds a way to get interceptions. So, I was real proud of the effort of our defense, no doubt. Refereeing, oh my goodness. I forgot how bad the MEAC refs can be, man. I mean some of those calls that were obvious, like the two ones that had to be replayed, that from live watching it live, you could tell they weren't interceptions or fumbles, and they they had to go to replay for something basic as that. And then when we threw the screen pass, and he fumbled the ball a little bit, but he caught it. It was obvious, and they blew the play dead, right? And then they know what to do. And then at the end of the game, South Carolina State, if you watch both of their drives at the end, regardless of our turnover, I mean, most of it was penalty yards. They were calling all kind of stuff, man, against us, and they weren't calling nothing against them, man. It was just really jacked up. The officiating was horrible that game.
You sound surprised. You sound shocked. We've been in the MEAC for the last, my God. Yeah. Like, when have you gone to Orangeburg and them not cheat?
Yeah, but
come on, man.
It
was so bad all game long.
It was so bad all game long, even on the broadcast.
It was very bad. That being said, this was probably the worst.
Talking about it, right? So
this was the absolute worst I've seen them, though.
It was bad.
Let me ask this: we committed 15 penalties for 151 yards compared to 6 for 65. Of those 15, how much was bad officiating? How much was us?
We were in total control of the game. Now, the bad officiating got turned around. Thank God there was instant replay. If there was no instant replay, they would have given South Carolina State the game, straight up. But because of instant replay, I was like, they cannot possibly mess this up. Like, he's clearly throwing the ball. It's clearly an incomplete pass. It's clearly all that. But a few years back, we were running a screen. It was an incomplete pass. South Carolina State picked the ball up and ran it into the end zone for a touchdown. It was like, that was an incomplete pass. It was like not a fumble. Without instant replay, their referees will go like ham crazy. But let me just say that for the most part, again, FAMU was in full control of the game. I'm sitting up there. We having a good time. We talking all kinds of ish. Scotty and off script, we were all up there. Scotty's watching several games. Everybody's sitting up there. We having a good time because the game was totally under control. But all of a damn sudden, looked up there. Here come Musa throwing the ball on 1st and 10. To the outside, and I was just like, everybody's jumping like, hey, run the freaking ball. Demas's mom is up there like, run the freaking ball. Everybody's saying the same thing. And you can see it. I just pray that we learn from it, and keep it moving. Now, let me say this again. I want to say, and I don't know how many coaches are watching, but I'm going to say this. I'm disappointed with the lack of multiple schemes running the ball. It's the same one back set every single down. I get it, But every once in a while, let me get a 2-back set. Let me get a 3-back set. Let me see something else that tells me that you're growing in this area other than the 1-back set to the same person or whoever's back there. You know, the defense does not have to guess. It's like they don't have to make any adjustments. They just know, okay, we're going to get him and, you know, get your hands up on Musa and see if you can knock the ball down. So all of these different things really do matter, and you just got to do better in that area, especially when it comes to clock management.
So let me ask this. Go ahead, Kelvin. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I was going to get into the run game issues. That was my next bullet point, along with play calling. And I really went back and watched the game several times to kind of figure out, other than the lack of creativity, what was hindering the run game. And from what I could see, outside of lack of creativity, our line stands up a lot, right? They don't fire off the ball, and they don't can maintain a low center of gravity. And so therefore, when the run plays happen, I saw a couple of guys get beat off the line right off the snap, right? And for me, it was bad technique. And then even when they were in the right positions, they weren't fundamentally sound in what they do. So I think they need to get on that sled and work on driving the ball and engaging the guy. They just not physical, and just to keep it simple. That offensive line and run game, they're not physical. The other part is, I think, it's enough to go around. We're missing lightning, right? The Thunder guys, there's sometimes when the holes are there, Bishop used to break those runs for touchdown. The big guys, they'll get you 4 or 5 yards, but they're not going to break away when the opportunity is there. So I think you need to give some of the other backs like Francis and Will, if he's healthy. I think they're going to have to get their turns at bat to run the ball, because we need that lightning. We need some speed. And then, of course, so we talked about offensive line. We talked about the running back. Let's talk about Musa. He got to keep that ball a few times. He can't just hand it off on first down every time, and they run blitz right into it, because they're not even paying any attention to him. So he got to pull that ball out and run it. But I would say this is what I'm observing. Musa seems to be a little shy of contact. If you get any pressure on him anywhere around, he'll throw the ball anywhere. He's still missing too many wide open guys, or missing the easy reads. So I know teams are going to pick up on that, and so we've got to do better. His success that game, if you think about it, was in the middle of the field. When we started trying to throw at the hash and throw outside, we didn't do much, and that's where our interceptions happen. So I mean, if I'm picking this up, and I'm saying it now, I know other coaches watching and they picking it up. So coaches, we got to do a little homework. So those are my observations from the game, though.
Biggest concern going forward, as I'm hearing you and I've heard other people, and you tell me which one of these you think is the biggest concern. Is it play calling, lack of originality of the play calling, the ineffective run game, and that last game, just to be fair, the passing was 38-30 in terms of number of plays. And let me see, that's 3. Those seem to be the 3 main ones that I'm hearing. So of those 3, and I know Kofi, you said all of the above, but obviously, if you can narrow it down, I mean, what's one that is the most concerning? Because we're heading into the second half of the season now, and if we're looking predictable and we're not effectively running the ball, you best believe Grambling, Southern, Bethune are all sitting back watching this.
I mean, we couldn't even take a snap. If you think about trying to run the clock out the last couple of games, we can't even take a snap on the center. I mean, we taking when we trying to kneel down and run the clock out. We hiking about 5 yards back out of the shotgun. So So I'm just saying, man, you know, we got to be more physical. But what I think is the most important part, what's the biggest issue? Creativity.
8:30.
Let me
Because
say this as well.
Because you can use formations and things like that to create matchups, you know, in motion. But we just got to be more creative.
The predictability is just gets on my last nerves.
Yeah.
Which and if you're going to be predictable, that puts a premium on your ability to execute. That makes the windows and the room for error much smaller. Because people know what you're going to do. So if you're going to do it, you have to have basically Green Bay Packer type, old school Green Bay execution, you know, to the point where you might know that it's coming, but you can't stop it. And we're not at that level yet.
All right. So we're 4-2 overall. Defeated the South Carolina State, the defending Black College national champs. I think we can kind of put that story to bed. You know, obviously be interested. Huh? Yeah.
75 team.
Yeah. That 7-5 team that everybody claimed. Yeah.
That we blew out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those
right,
guys. Those guys. Yeah. I mean, you know.
Yeah. I'm throwing shade.
Yeah, exactly, and we should. That's the third consecutive win over South Carolina State, so we continue to control them. We'll get into talking more about the offensive players, defensive players of the game, and the SWAC honors. But let's jump over while we can in this segment. Let's get to the main course, what a lot of people are excited to talk about. And again, I'm going to preface this because, as I said, we got a lot to get into the show. We can spend an hour talking about one thing. I'd love to talk 3 hours on this one thing, but that's just not how this show is scripted. All right. So we're gonna be honest with y'all. If you thought we were gonna be here and just spend 2 hours, it don't roll like that. Now next week, we can probably do that. But this is what I'll say. The announcement of Tiffany Dawn Sykes, to me, feels very rushed. And I have a feeling that as the news started to leak out on Monday, okay, that as other reports started coming out Tuesday, that all of a sudden somebody in FAMU and Lee Hall said, you know what, we might need to go ahead and let's just announce it now. And when we go ahead and announce it, we'll put out the press, we'll do a Zoom thing on Wednesday morning, okay? This was the kind of an announcement that needed to be in person. We needed to have VP Sykes. That's Tiffany Dawn Sykes, okay? The new VP and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. We needed to have VP Sykes in Tallahassee. She needed to be standing there on the dais in Lee Hall with a packed room of student athletes, administrators, and whomever else, not on a Zoom call. Because we felt rushed because somebody felt like we might be getting scooped by some blog site or a website or whomever you were worried about. Okay, so that's the first thing. And so now what you have is we have our athletic director who said she would not actually be taking the job until January, which then again brings me to why are we rushing to bring her out? We're already behind the planned date that Dr. Robinson said. When did he say he was going to have the AD announced?
OBC.
Orange Blossom Classic.
Yeah, Orange Blossom Classic. Well, we're 6-7 weeks past that date. So there's no sense in rushing her out there to everybody. Because now what you have is you already have had an extended, lengthy process of the search committee, which is already drawing all kinds of fire and scrutiny. Then you're going to have a segment of the population that's going to be excited that we have a female lead administrator in this year of celebration of Title IX. But you're also going to have a segment that's going to say, well, is she the right female administrator? Because there were 2 in the process. You're going to have that segment. You're also going to have a segment that say, is she qualified enough? Okay, you're going to have that segment. And then you're going to have people that are just going to question the whole process. This was rushed. She deserved better. Okay, so I'm, look, we're not gonna. I don't know how you want to break into measuring qualifications because I think that's all subjective. Because at the end of the day, Dr. Larry Robinson has to make the call. Did he make the right call? Did he make his first choice? Did he select the person that he wanted? And we can only assume yes. Or if he didn't get his first choice, he got the next best candidate that he thinks can lead this program. Because I tell you, with his renewal contract coming up on December 8th by the Board of Trustees, I think everything that's been decided and everything he's handled over the past 5 months should be evaluated and looked at deeply and sincerely. Kelvin, your thoughts on the hire of Tiffany Dawn Sykes as the VP and Director of Athletics?
I want to welcome her to Rattler Nation. She's qualified. She checks a lot of check boxes for me. She's had every position you can almost have. She's been at HBCUs and non-HBCUs. So she's worked her way through the system. She knows what she's getting into. She's been at an institution that has very aggressive alumni in Grambling. And I know some folks who know her, and I've got positive reports. So I am okay with this hire. Was it the most qualified? No. Is it a right hire? We'll see. But I can't say it's a bad hire. I mean, at the end of the day, given I think our budget limits, some of the issues we've had very publicly, even what happened with the previous AD and how that went down, and this president and this board. I don't know too many folks with better qualifications who are beating down the door to get it. And like I say, she's experienced, so I'm okay, and I'm here to support and try to make her successful, and which in turn means that FAMU athletics is successful. And I would encourage the rest of Rattler Nation to do the same. And I'll point out, I'm going there. She more experienced than the previous AD that we had coming in.
Agree 100 with you on that.
So I mean, her qualifications is not a question for me. She's qualified, and if the question is less about her and more about our administration, our board of trustees. Are they going to get out the way and let her run the programs and support her and her team? Let her build her team.
Kofi, your thoughts?
8.5 ain't gonna do it. We got to get to 12.5.
It sure won't. Least. It sure won't. Kofi, don't hold back.
All right, so I have to take a deep breath. Everybody knows, for me, I wasn't happy with the decision because as qualified as Tiffany is, Miss A.D. Sykes is, I did feel like Angelos was the best person for the FAMU job. That's just me. Okay. That being said, I have no say in who gets what. This is Dr. Robinson. This is on Dr. Robinson. I do think that A.D. Sykes is going to do a phenomenal job. My issue is this whole process. I want to start with the whole process. It's jacked up. It's jacked. It was jacked up from the beginning when he said the darn 18. It was gonna be jacked up. I know it was gonna be jacked up, and they couldn't have jacked it up anymore. They was trying not to jack it up, but they jacked it up. Okay, just the whole transparency issue. How candidates got to be in the position that they were. A lot of this stuff happened behind the scenes. Some people were left off, then some people came back on, then some people appeared out of nowhere, then some people didn't have, just jacked up. No, which speaks to policies, protocols, and procedures, which is something that should be a calling card of Dr. Robinson by now, but it's evident when it comes to athletics, it's not the case, and it's very disappointing and it's very disheartening. Okay, now she's got compliance, and knowing Dr. Robinson, with all that he went through with compliance, probably felt like, that she was going to be the best candidate for that, right? She was not going to be threatening. She was not going to be necessarily demanding somebody he believes he quote unquote can work with and get stuff done because he believes that should be a priority. Well, my thing, and I've always said, is compliance is a university and academic issue. And the university and Dr. Robinson have to be involved in making sure that the athletic compliance staff is properly certified and equipped to do the job that we need them to do. We need their support. We need their input. We need this to happen. My issue with all of this is every time Dr. Robinson makes a hire, he makes a hire based on need and not vision. He makes a hire based on need and not vision. He has no foresight, which is why there was no mention of athletics or the band in the strategic plan. And I have to say this with the board of trustees: stop patting him on the wrist about stuff and demand a freaking plan. It is unfair to the student athletes. It is unfair to Rattler Nation. It is unfair to whoever, to the university that you serve, to not have a plan. Now, I know Dr. Robinson's probably like, well, I want to leave that up to the AD. No, Ninja, you supposed to have a darn plan, or at least an idea of what you want to see from that department. To allow it to be this dysfunctional for this long is totally unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. Dr. Robinson, this is your university, obviously, you there. And the board of trustees at this point, they still gave him a darn 4.5, agreed on the 4.5. I don't see them going out of their way to remove him. I just don't. As long as Lawson is on the chair.
Okay, just real quick. A statement and a question. The question is, you really think Dr. Robinson made this decision?
No.
I think he made this. I think he
Not
made
long.
this decision just like he made the previous AD decision. Whoever was in his ear influenced helped him make
horrible.
that decision.
And it's horrible.
He's not going to make any decisions. And then the other thing, you absolutely, I agree with what you're saying, but here's the bottom line: have no expectations of the person who created the problem to solve the problem.
It's very disappointing. It's very perplexing. I have no confidence that Dr. Robinson is going to do necessarily or go out of his way. He's going to have to show me that he really, really, really wants to do right by athletics. Here's why. Okay. You can say what you want to say about Jackson State. You can say what you want to say about their AD. You can say what you want to say about Dion or whether he's SWAC or not. All I know is since he's been there, their ticket sales have increased. Their revenue has increased. The marketing has increased. They got new facilities for that football squad. For the practice field, they got new facilities and a weight room. They're about to get a new stadium. At what point, Larry, Dr. Robinson, and whoever else is in your ear, are you going to address the facilities and get us to the point where we will be able to attract top-notch, top-quality athletes? I know we put a couple of lockers in there. I know we fixed the floor. I know we got the nice little paint on the wall. I know we put some new carpet on there. I know we put a roof. But that field house is raggedy. At the end of the day, it's raggedy. It's not conducive to a modern football program that says that they want to compete at the highest level. It's not. At the end of the day, what are you going to do? Because here's the thing, and if Ms. Sykes, if you're listening, I want you to hear me and hear me well. Down here on the highest of 7 hills, down here in Tallahassee, Florida, we talk a whole lot of ish about a whole bunch of stuff. And at the end of the day, we would want to see championships. We want to see winners. In order to do that, you're going to need us. You're going to need the board of trustees. You're going to need the administration to do more. I don't care who's behind the wheel. Even if Angelos had gotten it, even if Angelos had gotten the position, the board of trustees and Dr. Robinson were going to have to open up the pocketbook and increase this budget to a level that says that we're not a Division II program. Because right now, we have a Division II budget. And I know for some of y'all are like, well, we don't want to go. Well, look, we got a Division II budget. It's a reason. Do you realize that our budget has decreased by 16% since 2016? It's decreased. And we wonder why FAMU does not have an outright football championship since 2001. Let me say this again. We haven't won an outright conference championship since 2001. We've never won a regular season basketball championship on the men's level. Now, the girls have gotten it done, but the men have not. You know why? We don't invest. We don't invest. And for the facility and the program and the legacies that we have, it's ridiculous. Again, the track and field, we got legacy there, but the facilities are raggedy. Except for the track. The track surface is nice. The stadium is raggedy. I can't say that I would be willing to host a it won't be world class on our track. We don't have any place for concessions. We have a couple of restrooms. It's not conducive. Baseball, same thing. If we want to take it to the level that we desire, we've got to freaking invest. But it begins with the board of trustees and Dr. Robinson and that crew saying, let's try to make this happen. We see that this is not going to work. We know that the athletic department needs trainers. We know that the athletic department needs nutritionists, their mental health, and additional compliance people. We know this. If they don't open up that pocketbook, you're going to see more mediocrity coming from the highest of 7 hills. And that's the bottom line. We've got to hold whoever's there. If Doc Robinson is there, he needs to continue to feel the heat. He needs to continue to feel the fire. He needs to continue to hear your voices and let him know that you're not satisfied with this. You're not satisfied with this level of dedication. You're not satisfied with what he's doing with it. If you're not satisfied, we have no other choice right now but to support AD Sykes. So my support is for her, but at the same time, Dr. Robinson, we're not done. We're not done. You and your staff have got to step it up. The end.
Hey, I want everybody to go to our Twitter feed. There's a poll that I put out a little earlier in the afternoon asking what should be the first priority of our new AD. And something that we'll get into talking about a little bit later in the show and share some of the results. But the options were clean up the compliance department, hire a solid admin team, fundraising, or facility improvement. So we want to hear your thoughts. Go over to twitter.com @OandG, OANDG, Strike Zone, and just scroll down. You don't have to scroll too far, but go vote on that. And I'll share, we'll get into talking about that a little bit later. But coming up next, we've got to get into our Grambling Week. I did it. I mentioned the G. But anyway, Grambling Week, we're going to talk to our good friend Curtis Ford and talk about what's going on down there in Grambling, Louisiana, as we get ready for this historic matchup between FAMU and Grambling. So stay tuned. You're watching the OG Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being heard.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. And before we get into talking with our guests, our first set of guests, I know Kofi wanted to have a last word for this segment. So, Kofi, your words, please.
Well, I want to say, just really, I want to commend Dr. Robinson for making an attempt to go, and they did another photo op to show that he met with the student athletes, et cetera, et cetera. But here's my thing, I want to see you meet with your coaches, Dr. Robinson. I want to see you meet with your coaches. I want to see you do a photo op with them and take their input in regards to what they need, because in the meetings that they had within the 18-man committee, both Coach Shoup and Coach Nikki Guthrie, they were basically saying, look, all of the candidates asked the coaches, what do you need? They said, we need resources. If you went to the volleyball coach, he would say, we need resources. If you went to XYZ, they would say, we need resources. Resources, money and resources, right? So, compliance, while compliance is an issue for Dr. Robinson, the issue with your coaches and your athletes are resources. Get somebody, and that's going to assist, and it's Sykes show now or whatever. Yeah, Tip goes AD Sykes show now, so she's going to be in charge of that. But get somebody that understands resources. Get us some resources so that we can get some championships and we can give our student athletes the best possible experience.
All right, it is Grambling week. FAMU traveling to Grambling, so let's bring in our guests to kind of help us break down a little bit of that. And what do you know? Joining us right here is Curtis Ford. Curtis, of course, is a Rattler, born and bred, but he's now working over there for Grambling, so we don't hold that against him. He's doing a great job as the Associate Director of Athletic Communications and Digital Strategy. And then, as you see, back on for a second week, it's our good friend, Joshua Padilla, who has a similar role for FAMU. So, Curtis, Joshua, thanks for coming on the O&G tonight.
Hey, absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
I got the invite, so I had to make it on. Always got to put on film as well, as y'all see it behind me.
So yeah, always a pleasure to come on with you guys.
Okay, I see you got that little small hat. Okay, I had to look there for a second. I didn't know what that was on your shoulder. I see Curtis still has his G on. So I mean, he's in good standing at the university. So that's a good thing. Uh, I know last year, I remember Curtis, we got you, and you were like in between running events last year. You were coming from one event to another. How's it been over the past year? Have things sort of settled down for you in the role?
Yeah, things have settled down pretty good. I know we had some, some trials and tribulations at times, but things have settled down real good. I fit in really well here. Everybody around here kind of treats me, well, not kind of, but they treat me like family. The G is real close. The G is real tight. The past year, hey, I have no complaints.
Nice. And you even became a little viral star from a couple of weeks ago, I think. Little sideline action, little sideline duty. Josh, I normally see Josh up in the box. Josh, you haven't taken a hit like the one Curtis took. I forgot what game that was. You haven't taken a hit like that in your role, have you?
No, I think I'm a little more agile than Curtis. That's all.
Nah. Josh ain't down in them trenches like that. That's all it is. He
Not no
trenches
more.
like that.
Hey,
Nah,
Curtis.
that was
Curtis, what happened?
yeah.
Curtis, what happened, man? I mean, you was on the sideline and you didn't keep your head on the swivel. You couldn't move out the way. What happened?
No, actually, what was happening was, me and the referee had words a little earlier about where to be on the sideline, and I actually backed up pretty far, and I had my lens on. It was a 70 to 200, and I was zoomed in on Shadura throwing the ball, and didn't realize he was going to throw the ball so far out of bounds. So, I'm just right there, and by the time I looked up, I got a player in my face, and I took it like a G though. I took the hit.
Did.
I got back up now. So,
You did. You
but yeah,
bounced
that's
up.
pretty
You
much what
jumped
happened.
up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I couldn't. No,
Right.
I realized I was on the ground. I was like, okay, it's too many people in the stadium, and we got the ESPN cameras. I can't stay down on that ground. So bounced up, and I'm, no pain. I'm pretty good.
Hey,
I'm pretty solid.
so I mean, obviously, this is a big rivalry weekend. FAMU, Grambling. I'm curious and it's good having both communication directors and or guys who are in the mix of it. What's the challenge of this particular week and sort of promoting and getting the word out, given the history? I mean, there's a lot of history between these two programs. I mean, these are two of the Blue Bloods or two of the Mount Rushmore programs. So I'll start with you, Curtis, and then go over to you, Josh.
For us, it's pretty easy to sell this type of game. It's our home opener. We haven't played at home yet this year. It's October 15th, and we're just now getting the game at Robinson Stadium. So I think our fans are ready for this type of game. They're hungry for a victory, obviously, because we've come so close. And just couldn't get it done. For us, it's really easy to kind of promote this game because everybody's excited around here. We have a big pep rally on Friday. We've got soccer contests on Friday as well. We've got a huge weekend of events going on here at Grambling. And to have somebody like FAMU come in, I mean, that just makes the job even easier, to sell the game and promote it.
Mm-hmm. Josh?
And I think for us, I mean, we're on a 4-game win streak. We have goals and aspirations, and Rattler Nation all wants to see us back in postseason play, whether hopefully we're able to get some help and compete for a SWAC championship. And if not, hopefully continue to win and return to the FCS playoffs. So I think for us, everyone's just kind of excited and wants to see us continue the win streak. 4 in a row. I think we have like the 11th, tied for the 11th longest, but I know the guys and coach and the fan base, they want to see us in number one. So I think that's it. Just knowing that we're rolling. And if we didn't have so many issues last week in the fourth quarter, we probably, people would be even more excited. But I think that's it for us.
Kofi, jump in there. What do you got?
So, man, what's your favorite spot to eat out there in Grambling, Louisiana?
Okay, so if y'all are coming to the game this week, all right, my spot is a chicken spot called Southern Classic. When the first day I moved here, the first day we pulled in to Grambling, Louisiana, we was asking where to eat, and everybody was like, "You got to go to Southern Classic." They've got some of the best fried chicken and sides that you'll eat in North Louisiana. Yeah, that's my number one.
Is
That's
it
my
better
go-to.
than Shangles?
Oh man, come on, Kofi. Come on, I can't go against home team. I can't go against the home team. I can't say that.
Okay.
I got to stick with
Just had to
Shingles.
know. I had to get
Got
my
stick with Shingles.
expectations right.
But if you're in Grambling and y'all come for the game, Southern Classic is a must-go-to spot. All right, that's the place you got to put on your map. They got some really good chicken. Really good chicken. And it ain't, I keep it honest, it's not a lot to eat in Grambling and Ruston, Louisiana. We're right in between Shreveport and Monroe. But we've got some decent places up here.
Kelvin, jump in there.
I want you and Josh to talk about. First of all, my question is, I can't remember exactly. Did you all's time kind of cross each other when you was at FAMU? And then I want y'all to talk about how in y'all roles y'all collaborate. Both like a week where we playing each other, but also from time to time, best practices, what was working out there, where you at, what's working here, and so forth. Kind of just talk about the relationship. Josh, I start off with Josh.
Yeah, no. So when I arrived to FAMU, Curtis was huge for me because he knows he knows so much history, and helped introduce me to the coaches, student athletes and such. And to this day, he still helps me out a lot with a lot of this traditional SID stuff that he has more experience with, or even sometimes I have to call him to ask for a password to an old stat computer or something. So Curtis has been huge, and I think our short time together was great for both of us, because I feel like he's learned some stuff from me as far as like social digital, and I learned a lot of stuff from him, from traditional SID, learning how to do stat stuff, and even my first write-up I ever did, he proofed it and helped tell me a couple things to change and such. So Curtis has been great for that first month and a half we were together, but then also to this day still. I mean, we were talking last night after the news broke. I mean, we talk all the time.
Yeah, and ditto, like Josh on the social media side, I always pick his brain to figure out, best practices, certain things that I see going on here, and I'm like, Josh, would you let that fly? And Josh was like, nah, I wouldn't let that fly. But yeah, Josh has been instrumental, in keeping communications open. And I think working in the same conference, being in the SWAC, we always have to keep an open line of communication because we're playing each other in so many sports. We just played FAMU volleyball. If we need to toss photos back and forth from each other, one of us can't be there. I mean, it's a really good working relationship, and it went from two guys that work in communications to guys who would really becoming brothers now, and truly friends. And Josh has been instrumental. And honestly, I'll tell you straight up, FAMU has been killing it on the digital side. I mean, they're leading the way. Everybody talks about this school in Mississippi that we ain't even gonna talk about. But FAMU's been killing it under Josh, and we've made some great strides here at Grambling State University, making sure we keep our fans engaged, making sure they've got graphics, making sure they've got video, making sure we're doing everything we can to promote our program. And a lot of the things that I do are things that I saw Josh implementing at FAMU before I left. So, man, I, hats off to my guy Josh, man. He's a rock star. So, I really appreciate that guy right there.
Hey man, y'all gonna do a bro hug? Y'all gonna do a bro hug when y'all see each other?
Yeah.
digital bro hug, right?
You ain't SWAC.
Bring it in, bro. Bring it in.
You ain't SWAC.
We ain't SWAC.
Hey, look. Okay, hold on. That brings up a great topic here. Well, I got two communication guys. How do you guys take that event? And and you can go from either side, but let's go to if your coach drops a great nugget like that, how do you handle that? How do you pitch that? I mean, now, Josh, we know Coach Simmons is a little more subdued than I would say Curtis, than probably Coach Jackson, but I'm just guessing. So, yeah, see, Kofi's shaking his head now. But how would you handle a situation like that? And I don't mean this to be any critique of what JSU's done, but just to kind of get inside of the background from the communications department. And obviously, because you guys are working with your bosses, and so kind of maybe take us in the background of how that may look. We'll start with you, Josh, and then go to you, Curtis.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like, as long as we're winning, fans are going to be behind it, everything like that. So for me, and I'll talk to Coach Simmons and whatnot, and be like, hey, do you want to roll with this? Like, do we want to put this out? Do we want to push it? Like, they were, Coach Prime is definitely, I don't think Coach Simmons and whatnot would have got a shirt made or anything like that. But I think Coach Simmons would be cool with, me promoting it on our channels, and then, having other people try to share it as well. As long for me personally, as long as we're winning and taking care of business, then I feel we can roll with that and move forward with it because people will enjoy it.
About you, Curtis?
It something like that. If I'm Dion's SID, it makes it easy to sell the game because he's winning games. He can coach his butt off. If I'm Alabama State's SID, and our coach makes the comments he made after the game, I'm standing behind him 100% because, personally, I have no problem with Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. Defending his team. I mean, you got a coach whose players heard a coach from another team say how it was a money game, how they were going to come in there, and that's the only reason they were scheduled for homecoming, because they want to make a lot of money. Like, yeah, if I'm the head coach, I want to defend my program. So as SID, I think we take back seats to everything and just kind of let whatever play out until we have to get involved. But usually if the coaches got something to say, if the coaches want to talk, if the coaches want to make statements to the media, they have all free will to do so, and we're not going to stop them.
This was definitely a historic moment. I want to say, we had that situation not that long ago when A&T came down and had to play us on a Sunday, and there was a fight with the team and with a few of our coaches, and FAMU ended up winning the game, and Washington said that they was the better team, and Coach Simmons was like, take your L and basically gone on, so,
Kofi, didn't he say something along the lines of, they wanted to wait until it wasn't raining because they throw the ball, and that's why they beat us, because they throw the ball, and if we had played in the rain, we would have lost. Isn't that what it was, Kofi?
He said something to that effect. There? Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Something
Excuses.
to that effect.
That's what I heard.
Right.
Excuses.
Right. So, we've had that situation with coaches and stuff before. And just the other week we had Maynard to come down, and we didn't necessarily get a statement, but it was a very controversial handshake with Simmons and Maynard. Maynard felt like we were trying to run the score up on him. And, Coach Sim was like, man, ain't nobody trying to hear all that. He just really downplayed it. But Maynard was ready to fight. And you could see it in his face. Just Coach Simmons took the cooler, more professional role. But it was there for the taking if he had been batted. So there you go.
Yeah, you mean that 3 extra minutes that Connell Maynard hung around on the field post game? That's what you must be referring to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But we're not exempt. At FAMU, we had whole Coach Richardson saying somebody was going to be embarrassed, and then they came up in here and got embarrassed, and we should have had a T-shirt then. Somebody gonna get embarrassed. We should have had something there.
And then I think another thing about that too, everybody's like, well, that ain't SWAC, whatever ain't SWAC. I'm pretty sure Saturday wasn't the first time any coach said something before a game, or there was trash talk between coaches, or bad blood between coaches. I think that's just a part of the game. So if that's a part of the game, but so is defending your team, right? And in that particular situation from the Saturday, I don't think anybody is not at fault. I think both coaches can learn something from that, and both coaches can take responsibility, for what happened on that day. And I know Coach Robinson has definitely issued an apology, but you know how that goes.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we got to get ready to wrap up this particular segment. Let me get a final word, Josh. Let us know kind of what are the travel plans for FAMU, as much as you can tell us, as the Rattlers are heading out to Grambling. What's this itinerary, or how's that look?
Yeah, so we fly out Friday afternoon, staying in the Shreveport area, and after the game on Saturday, we'll fly back into town, get back to Tallahassee around between like 9 and 10 p.m. So it's a quick turnaround for us. So that's kind of our plans.
Does Coach like the fact that it's a 1 p.m. Well, actually, 1 p.m. Central Time kickoff, a little earlier than normal, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Because kind of able to get in and kind of get out and get back home and such. And then last week, it was pretty much about the same time as far as like body, because 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. So it's pretty much the same as it was last week, as far as our bodies are used to.
Okay. And Curtis, we're not going to ask you to give any score predictions or anything like that. But what can we expect from Grambling when Rattler Nation comes to the hole? What can they expect from the game day atmosphere? And what can we expect during the contest?
Like I said, Grambling fans are hungry. They're happy to have a home game. The players are happy to finally be in their own beds. Like I said, we haven't had a home game yet this season. It's October 15th. And it's hard to win on the road, right? But I think you're going to see a Grambling team that comes out super competitive. And, I'll just say this on behalf of Grambling. I love this place. Like I said, it's like family. Last week, losing overtime, you saw the team, I think, come a little bit closer. They feel like they're right on the edge of finally breaking through and getting that signature victory. And I know they want nothing more than to get a signature victory against a team like Florida A&M. And when you talk about game day atmosphere, like I said, it's going to be loud. I actually do PA here, so if y'all in the stadium, that's actually me. So, if I'm telling Graham fam to get loud, or, we got to do this on third down, don't get mad at me, FAMU. That is my job. You got to rock with the people that pay me. But, yeah, I think you're going to see a fun atmosphere. I think you're going to see a really good football game. I think it's going to be and Route Nation may disagree with me. And that's okay. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think it's going to be a game where, it's hard to win in the hole. And that's one thing we say around here a lot of times. Like, you see teams come in here, think they're going to win, and then it's just hard to win down there. It's hot in that whole, in the stadium. It's built down into the ground. It's actually built into a lake, which was, they told me it's actually built. They dug out a lake and put the stadium there. It's hot. It's going to be 90 degrees just about. It's a tough place to get a victory. So I, just expect a really tough environment to play football. I think Eddie Robinson Stadium is one of the best places to play football. So, I think you guys are going to be very thoroughly entertained.
And is it true that 1993 was the last time that FAMU played at Grambling? Is that correct? Do I have that date right? Or year?
I believe it's 1991. We actually just talked about that today. It was 1991. The game is actually on YouTube. I want to say it's an old Ken Riley show.
Okay.
And I think it was 91, and I think Grambling won that one, and then I think 94 was when FAMU played them in Miami, right? And beat Eddie Robinson that year. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a fun game for everybody to watch. And everybody gets to watch it on HBCU Go. So there you go.
Exactly. HBCU Go, 2 Eastern in Tallahassee, 1 Central in the Grambling area if you're on Central Time. We look forward to anybody who's traveling to Grambling. Yeah, go ahead, Curtis.
Wait, are you guys tailgating this weekend? Because I need a plate. I haven't got a tailgate plate since I've been here at Grambling. I know FAMU will take care of me if they're tailgating.
They're not
I'll be there.
Y'all will take care of me.
I know there's some Graham fam that's watching on YouTube or on Facebook. Y'all need to take care of Curtis, man. Curtis out there working, and go take care of the man this year. I know he's no longer a newbie. He's around there. He's the voice of the stadium, voice of the whole. I guess is that what they call it now? The voice of the whole. Yeah. So
we'll call it that.
All right, we'll call it that. Y'all take care of my man with a plate. LaShanda, y'all go ahead over there and take care of Curtis, all right? Josh, we appreciate your time for joining us. Curtis, thank you. Safe travels, Josh, to the team and everybody traveling. Curtis, thanks for joining us. God bless y'all, man. We want the G's to come back, just not this week. So, hopefully everything works out over at Grambling, man, all right?
All right, y'all take it easy. Thank you for having me.
Real quick question for Curtis.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Someone asked if Grambling has a distraction committee. Is that something we need to
Oh, yes. I forgot about the distraction committee. Forgot about that.
Y'all had thick 36. I'll see if we can find thick 37, all right?
Wow. And there it is. I'm glad thank you, Josh, for reminding me of that. Yes.
How about Josh?
Hopefully they don't get too close to the benches. We hope they don't get too close to the benches over there. All right. Hey, we'll come back in just a second with our head women's basketball coach, Coach Shalon Pillow. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
Five-star backyards, Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Welcome back to the OMG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway. Joining us right now, our head women's basketball coach, Coach Shalon Pillow, taking some time out to join us. Coach, how you doing this evening?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing well. And
good
yes,
to see y'all again.
yeah, definitely. Good to have you back on again. It's basketball season. I know that still probably catches a lot of people off guard because, a lot of football talk is going on. But look, that's the beauty, I think, of October. Basketball season is starting up. You've already started. I believe, is this the second week of practices?
Third week.
Or third? Huh?
Yep, third week. This is
Third
practice
week. Wow.
13, I think. Practice 13 tomorrow morning.
Wow. Nice. Okay, so 2 weeks into practice, what do we know about our team that has surprised you over these 2 weeks? Maybe what are some things that we're still working towards?
Well, not so much a surprise, just very proud and pleased that the newcomers have come in and adapted very well. Practices are much more competitive. Energy is so much better. Not coaching effort nearly as much as I was last season. So that's exciting that these girls, they want to play. They say if a team loses in the scrimmage or if we're playing live, they're like, hey, coach, can we run that back? Do we have time? And that is not something that I had in the past. So very exciting there. As far as our energy and competitiveness, that's great, but we still aren't completely gelled as a team yet. But it's a process, and it's early. We don't even have our first competition for another month. We open up November 7th, and at the end of the day, it's all about how we perform in conference. So we've got time to progress and continue the process.
All right, Kelvin, go ahead.
Coach, I'm interested to know, how do you feel about your depth? You mentioned your newcomers, and you still have a core that's returning. How much depth? How far deep in your bench you think you'll be able to go this year? And also talk about your scheduling non-conference. I noticed that we got 3 home games, and then we got, of course, the money games. But just talk about your strategy with putting together your non-conference schedule also.
Okay, well, as far as the depth, praise God. Let's hope that everybody stays healthy and that COVID does not rear its ugly head and affect our depth, because right now we've got 13 healthy players all participating in practice and competing. So right now we're looking good, but it's a long season, and by design I have cut down practices because they go so much harder in practice. So there's no need to drag out practice. Design a couple extra days off here and there so we have great recovery. I'm really focused on keeping them healthy throughout the season, because that really hurt us last year, plus COVID. As far as the non-conference, we start out with a couple Florida schools. We play University of Florida on the 7th to open up the season, and then we're at South Florida on the 11th. We have the opportunity to go out to California for the SWAC Pac-12 Alliance game. So we'll go out there around Christmas time. And before California, we're at Mississippi State, so an SEC opponent. And we have a trip to Michigan where we play Michigan State and Eastern Michigan. So those are pretty much our money games. We have a couple home and homes. We have Georgia State at home. We go to Jacksonville, I believe. Tuskegee at home. So we got a somewhat more even schedule than we did last year.
Yes.
Some games that we should really be able to compete in and win. And then also, the money's important. So we have to play those games as well. It's a great experience for our team.
Kofi, go ahead.
How about Coach? So I know we talked a whole lot about the probability of us being able to play in Gaither this year. Do you see that as something that is on the horizon, or are we still another year away from that?
I think we're still another year away from that. I think it hasn't been much of a discussion. It's kind of without having our permanent AD in place and not having Gaither completely ready as far as proper shot clocks and things along those lines. It doesn't look like it's going to happen unless it's later in the season or maybe a conference game, but it hasn't really been discussed at this point. Still something we really would love to do.
Right. I understand that, there was a lot of turbulence, obviously, last year with the change in leadership and stuff that you all had to endure. How happy, or have you had an opportunity to talk to the new AD and talk about maybe your hopes and aspirations for what is to come down the line?
I have not had an opportunity yet. I talked to her during her interviewing process.
Okay.
But since her announcement today, I have not had the opportunity to speak with her. I just know how it was just a few years ago when I was hired. It is a whirlwind. People that you haven't talked to, aunties and cousins come out from the woodworks, and your phone is just popping. So I understand that transition. She doesn't really arrive on campus till January, so I'm sure that we'll have time to communicate before she arrives and is in full time. I just really hope that she gets all the support and that she needs. I'm so excited to be working under another Black female. There's not many Black females that hold an athletic director's position, especially at Division I level. So that's amazing to be part of that history. I know we've had one in the past, but it's been a while. So just to have that, and a great example, I coach women's basketball. I coach a women's sport. So to have another person that they can look up to and aspire to be, and have a woman in leadership, representation is everything. So I think it's a awesome thing.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned what I love to hear. You said some things which really stood out about not having to coach effort, the competitiveness. Those are always interesting when I hear coaches say that, because I think a lot of people just assume that's just inherent in every player. Whatever. Maybe it's not. But is that a product of, when I looked at our roster, half the roster is made up of young ladies who have played at other universities, other Power 5 universities or other Division I universities. Is that the main product of that? Is that one of the biggest things when you went out to go rebuild the roster, was that something that you targeted and wanted to try to find?
Absolutely. Our whole goal was to go strictly portal and get young ladies who maybe didn't get a fair opportunity at the Division I level or Power 5 level and had a little bit of chip on their shoulder and were hungry and wanted to play and wanted to compete. And first and foremost, we had to make sure we had good people. I'm not a believer of bringing in a knucklehead that can give me 30 points and win a whole bunch of games and they don't get with their teammates. Or I'm going to chase them around campus and make sure they're in class and all that type of stuff. So we started out make sure we had good people, and we definitely nailed that by having some really good young ladies with great aspirations for life after FAMU. But then, as I said, they just know what it looks like. I mean, they've been part of big time programs that they have to work for their spot every time they step on the court, and they don't take it for granted that they're just going to play because they may have a little bit more experience than some of the players that are already on the roster. So it's risen the level of our returners as well for them to have to go head to head, and they're meshing together. I love when they go at it and they want to go back and forth about a call and run it back. I mean, just the energy and the atmosphere is what I was hoping to build here at Florida A&M.
Nice, nice. I got one other question, Kelvin. I hope I'm not stealing what yours might be here, but I got to ask about the Canada connection because I know it's something that you happen to mention in the SWAC media day. But obviously, we have three young ladies. I think it's three from Canada.
You're right.
As much as you can tell, or whatever you're willing to tell, what's the relationship, and how does their international experience help?
Yeah, those three are really tight. They've known each other from competing each other ever since high school. So they kind of all, Me Day was the first one to commit and come along. And I think they all kind of recruited each other to come here, and it worked out great. And as I said, it gives, for instance, like Dylan Horton, it gives her someone else with the more like-minded, which has pulled several of our younger players along and everything. So they've been a great addition. Along with Yvette, she is from Spain originally and played at Ball State. And then we have Skylar. She's a post presence for us out of Charleston Southern. So she's a good addition. And then Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis. I don't even know why I said that. That is not that child's name. But Perry. Perry.
We'll ride with Perry Ellis. That's going to be her.
Hey, Coach, you sound like, Coach sound like she's ready to go shopping.
I mean, that is
Perry Ellis. Give her a brand right there. Perry. There we go.
NIL deal. NIL deal.
But her new name might be Perry Ellis now. But at any rate, she came at the semester last year and wasn't able to participate because of NCAA eligibility rules. So she's in the flow of things now and part of the team and getting reps. So yeah, we're right down the middle pretty much, half and half of returners and newcomers, and they're meshing together great.
Nice, nice. Go ahead, Kelvin.
So I got a two-part question, Coach, and one of them is a familiar theme. But how's your staff? Were you able to maintain continuity there? I know that's important as you build your team, your program, to have some consistency there. And so talk about your staff, and then also style of play. I know you didn't have all the depth, you didn't have the size, you didn't have the speed, the pieces to play the kind of ball you ultimately want to get to. How close are you with this team to that?
So the first part, yes, we have our staff returning. Coach Kobe Davis has been doing a great job in the recruiting realm. She's been hitting the road, getting involved with the JUCO. There's a lot of jamborees and things along those lines going on right now. So she's been out on the road, hitting it hard there. Also a great addition as far as her basketball skills and skill development, things along those lines. And then also Matt Wheeler has been doing a great job. I mean, he holds it down as far as making sure we got all the logistics together, paperwork, all that kind of thing. But he also has a basketball background as well and is able to add a lot on the court. So yes, have those two both back, which is, like you said, very important to building a culture and having the same familiar people who know what you want around. Style of play, we're getting closer. I mean, just having the competitiveness and the want to and everybody kind of on the same page helps a lot. So we're not all the way there yet, but I'm not opposed to thinking that might happen by the time we get to conference or midway through conference. I mean, we've got a lot of basketball to play. Basketball is a long season. So we are pushing tempo a lot better. Our defense is getting better. We're getting the passing lanes. Still working on that press. And you know what? The crazy thing is, I think they're better when I just tell them to go press. Because instead of trying to teach them rotations and stuff, that's the way they play so hard. We're still working on getting our communication a little better on defensive end. I mean, but they're intense on it. So I'm looking forward to continuing the process and just building as the season goes on.
Awesome.
How about Coach? So, I want to say since we've been in the SWAC, there's been one team that has gotten on Rattler Nation's last nerve, and that, of course, is Jackson State. So talk about playing Jackson State and what makes them so tough, and how we look to basically take these guys down. I'm sick of them.
Man, you're not the only one. So Jackson State, Tamika's a great coach, does a great job recruiting, has a great staff. Absolutely respect what they've been able to do at HBCU, which means it could be done at FAMU as well. It really only takes one. Just like the Canadian connection for us, just took us to get one Canadian, and then we had three. Just like she has Mississippi State transfer, or Ole Miss, or Power. I know it's the
Right.
SEC. She's got a transfer. It only took one. Now she's got one from California, and they're big players, and they're coming. So we're still building that culture. We just gotta continue to build the culture and win some games, and get rid of the old thoughts about FAMU women's basketball, and like really get rolling. And I think we'll have the opportunity to do the same thing that they're doing at Jackson.
Hubba.
Hey, all right. So just to let people know, as I look at the schedule here, to let people know, the first home game, which I'm assuming is an exhibition game, is that the November 2nd game against University of West Florida?
Yes, that's our first exhibition. It's dress rehearsal for us.
Good. Okay, that's November 2nd. It's on a Wednesday. And then we start the season the following Monday at Gainesville against University of Florida. And then you mentioned those home games. So we've got actual home games this year, Coach. And I'm going to tell you, I was one of those people that was very loud about how wrong it was that we made you start your career with all road games, but it is what it is. So now we got home games. So we get people out to come see the ladies, and that's on November 15th against Georgia State, and Sam Houston on December 3rd, and Tuskegee on December 12th. That is a very good team. So that'll be a good atmosphere, hopefully, for people to come out. Yeah, that's a good start, Coach. Good start. So we're looking forward to it. Any other upcoming meet the team kind of events, or anything upcoming that you want to plug and tell us about?
Well, nothing's been really confirmed yet. There's been some talk going around that Wednesday is going to be our kickoff for men and women's basketball. A week, when this Wednesday coming,
Next
actually.
Wednesday.
I think that's the 19th.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's not been confirmed yet. So, Josh, I'm sorry if I spoke out of term. But that's been the talk as well. So be on the lookout for that. That's coming soon. Also, what we're hoping for that Georgia State game is to make it a school day game. And again, this is still in the works, so it may or may not happen. But just opportunity to invite Leon County middle school and elementary school players out, and have like an 11 a.m. game, and kind of make it a field trip. But again, we're in the infant stages of making that happen. There's a lot of moving pieces, so it's something we're working on. Hopefully that will work out. That's always a great atmosphere, and gives some of the local students, elementary students, the opportunity just to be on our campus. And that's advertisements for FAMU in itself, just to be in that atmosphere. So hopefully we can make that happen, and get some people some exposure to FAMU and women's basketball.
Love that idea. Go ahead, Kofi.
So last question for me, since you had an opportunity to meet AD Sykes in the interview process, or talk with her during the interview process, can you tell us what you liked about her in that interview process, and give us something to look forward to as she arrives in January?
I like that this is where she wants to be. I like that she is not looking at FAMU as a stepping stone in her career. She's looking to come and be here and make a change. And I think that, like we talked about consistency with the coaching staff, it's the same with the administration as well. So I think she's going to do a great job. I think she's going to she's got some really great ideas that she brought to the interviewing process. That again, I hope that she just gets the support and everything that she needs to do a great job, because I mean, she's very qualified for the job. Has an outstanding resume, has an amazing personality, and really has the student athletes heart and their well-being in mind. So, and also the coaches as well, of course. But we don't have athletics program without the athletes. So it's very important that we take care of them and that they are prepared for life after FAMU. So I'm excited about it. As I mentioned before, I mean, I'm all about women power. Anytime
Let's
you
go.
have in a position like that, I mean, I'm all for it.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, and Coach, I know you got a great staff, but you tell that guy Matt Wheeler. I've known him since he came to Orlando from Portland. So I mean, that is a good dude and a hard worker. I mean, if anybody,
Amen.
I know your team is going to get better skill wise because he's on the staff, and I know what kind of work he puts in. So I already know. So when people start getting, look, I know Wheels is there, so I mean, you're gonna be good, Coach. I know it already. I know it already. You tell him Fulford said hello, all right, and tomorrow at practice, and I'll talk to him. All right, Coach Shalon Pillow, we always love talking to you, Coach. Thanks for your time,
Yes.
and we're excited about the season, and we will be there, and we gotta find a way, guys, to come do a show. One of those double header nights, and that way we can do a show and have both coaches there, and all the, all of it. So we working on it, Coach. We working on it.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing. And thank y'all so much for having me back on. I enjoy coming on here for sure.
Let's go.
We appreciate it, Coach. We appreciate you. Yeah, guys, be safe, be well, and keep working hard in those practices. All right.
Thank you.
Let's
go.
All
right, we'll be back in just a moment. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone, coming back in 2.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
We are making the virtual HBCU experience available wherever you live through Stillman Online. We offer online degrees in business, criminal justice, psychology, and religion. Stillman also offers technology badges in cybersecurity and data analytics. You can participate in all student activities, fraternities and sororities, internships, graduation ceremonies, and much more. Apply for admission today at stillman.edu. Stillman College, where we prepare you for a different world.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
One bite of 100% Angus beef ballpark frank, and you'll say, hello, summer. Oh yeah, it's ballpark season.
Welcome back to the OMG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi here. Yeah, I got to tell you guys, I'm I'm really excited to see my good friend Matt Wheeler there as an assistant coach with Coach Pillow. That is awesome. Okay, let's start. We got a lot to do and a little bit of time to do it in. I want to thank everybody out there chatting in the chat rooms on YouTube and Facebook. I know we appreciate Dr. Lori in there on the moderating, Dr. Strachan in there as well. Hopefully you guys have been acting okay. Hadn't been too crazy. So shout out to everybody there. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Looks like everybody's been kind of doing that. We appreciate it. All right, so the Twitter poll that we put out earlier is what should be the first priority for our new AD, Tiffany Dawn Sykes? Cleanup, compliance department, hire a solid admin team, fundraising, facility improvements. I'll go to you guys first and ask you, and then I'll let you know what the results are. Kofi, what should be the first priority?
Obviously compliance. It brought such a stain and embarrassment to the university, but you can't do that until you build your team. So I would say team first, and then compliance, and then facilities.
Kelvin?
Definitely building your team first. Because she started January 4th, that may buy her some time in terms of both by the time she start bringing in whatever talent she feels she needs, as well as also getting familiar with the staff and talent that's there. I know there's a lot of interims and a lot of vacant positions. I know that they're moving forward with like the director of track interviews this week, and that one to me is a no-brainer. And hopefully they'll do the right thing. But I know there's still positions being filled within the department, and she needs to make sure that she's a part of all that process, or at least familiar with that process as it moves forward. But definitely getting her team together is the most important thing.
Yeah, 44% of the votes seem to agree. Hire a solid admin team first. 38% says clean up the compliance department. Only 12% fundraising and 5% facility improvements. Kind of coming in third and fourth. It's interesting because, but what?
I mean, the reality is you know, in terms of priority, you can't do anything with facilities, and you can't do anything with compliance until you have a team. And the success, or her success, is going to be directly connected with who's around her and who's going to help her to lift this thing called FAMU athletics.
Yeah, and I think she's going to have to be able to ask for a lot of things. And I think that's what's going to be interesting to see what she's able to ask for and what she gets. Because, you know, while compliance may be a manpower issue, I still think you need the right people. You know, it's not as easy.
Here's the thing with me. With this administration, you can't ask. They don't have. You know, now, the one thing that they can do is increase the budget, right? Increase the budget. Y'all take care of that. Give us what we need in terms of resources, academic compliance, with additional coaches, with additional trainers, all the things that a top-notch athletic program should have. But when it comes to these resources, you know, the P3 is a big part of this. And so I want to see that thing revived. And all I want from the Board of Trustees and Dr. Robinson is yes. You know, yeah, we got to do this. We see the need to do this. You know, just looking around and find a way to get it done. That's the end. Just get it done.
Hey, Mel, do we have the graphic of our previous athletic directors? Because this when AD VP Sykes goes in, this is all she needs to show the board of trustees and whomever else. That's the list. And there's some, since the turn of the century, there have been almost, that list is 20. How many is that list? Do the quick count there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
19, right?
16. Yeah, 16. That's 16, I think. 16 including A.D. Smith. But look, let's not just go 10 years. I saw the blog post, Rattler blog, say 10 years. No. Let's go to the decade. No, I'm not the decade, the century. Since the turn of the century, that's the turnaround. We need to be able to give her the resources. Nobody has had a run longer than 3 years. This needs to be at minimum a 5-year process. She needs the money. She needs the resources. So if you, and I hate to say this, I don't know, guys. If you're not going to extend Larry Robinson's contract, then let's go. Move on. But if you're going to extend his contract, then you got to extend the budget and give A.D. Sykes what she needs.
And give him a grade on athletics.
Well, yes. Well,
he needs to be graded
that should be
on how well he supported athletics and what they need.
Yeah, we know that grade is probably a D. You might give it an F.
A 1, a 0.
Yeah. That's where it's at. So that's important. So I one of the things that we're going to get into, we'll talk more next week's show about the hire A.D. Sykes. We'll talk more about the process, because I know the process has got a lot of people up in arms, and so. But we're going to kind of let that settle a little bit and then get into it as we can get more information. Let's go through sort of a bit of the SWAC roundup, or excuse me, the Rattler roundup, as we like to call it around here. Got to give a mention to Amelia Stirk on our bowling team. She was the SWAC Bowler of the Week after a stellar performance in the Rattler Classic. She finished second individually to open the season. She knocked down an average score of 211.6 in terms of the total pins. Now, the team finished 5th overall, which is kind of about halfway through, but overall it was good enough as she earned, I think she was our highest performing bowler of the weekend. So she earned SWAC Bowler of the Week. I don't know. Have there been a lot of those SWAC Bowler of the Weeks that we've won? Do you recall? Anybody? Nope. All right.
No, not recently. Early on, we used to win a couple of them, but we had 2 to finish in the top 5. Amelia Stirk and Jordan Ship. She was also in the top 5 for the tournament with an average of 202.8.
Okay, great. Thank you for bringing that up. They traveled, the Rattler, the bowlers traveled to, I think this is pronounced Harahan, Louisiana, in Tulane's Colonial Classic. That's this weekend. So safe travels to our bowling team. Hopefully they can continue striking, literally, with their performance. Also earning SWAC Player of the Week honors, Isaiah Major, with his second in the past 3 weeks, I believe, SWAC Defensive Player of the Week award, which he earned from this past Saturday. Isaiah had 13 tackles, 5 of them were solo, 2.5 tackles for loss, a sack, and a pass break up this past weekend. So Isaiah has really moved into, I think statistically, he's moving himself into maybe that top 5 category in the conference. I think he's a real player for Defensive Player of the Year.
No, he got to be top right now. He's definitely top 5. He's probably top 3 right now. He's leading the conference in tackles, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, you okay? I'll take your word on it. You might be right. Honestly, I haven't checked the stats, so you're probably right on that. We unfortunately didn't win any. Now I don't know why. but I didn't look at the stats too deep. But we did not win any SWAC Player of the Weeks in volleyball, which kind of surprises me, given the fact that we swept 3 teams over the weekend. The last victory was a 3-0 victory over Prairie View. It was our 18th consecutive victory against a SWAC opponent. I believe we started the weekend with a win over Grambling, which is their only loss, right? I think in terms of the standings, we're 6-0. I believe Grambling volleyball is like 6-1, something to that effect.
Right.
So yeah, that's volleyball. And then of course we travel to Mississippi on Friday to take on Jackson State and Mississippi Valley State on Saturday. And so this is the match. This is look, we went 5 games, 5 sets against Jackson State in the SWAC championship, defeated them 3-2. I may be wrong, but I think Jackson State is the last loss in the SWAC.
I thought it was Alabama State.
Anybody have any? It was Alabama State? Okay.
As far as who?
Regular season.
In terms of regular season. Volleyball, like the last, obviously we won 18 in a row. I was trying to remember.
I think we've gone 5 sets with if I remember correctly, we've gone 5 sets with Alabama and Alabama State, but we always pull it out 3-2.
I thought they beat us last year.
They
I thought we split with them
one time. Yeah, because we finished second, even though we beat Jackson State because we lost 1 to them and we beat them, and then we lost 1 to Alabama State. So you're correct.
Okay, so Alabama State was the last one. So, but I know the last time we went to Jackson State, we did lose that contest.
That was our first SWAC game. Yeah, that was our first.
Yes, that was our first SWAC game.
And
they cheated. So, and they cheated.
And they're gonna cheat this time too.
That's a Friday night. Jackson State so far is 6-12, but 5-1 in conference. So they're sitting right there on the verge, trying to catch us. That's a 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Apparently, it will be watched live on the Jackson Sports Network. So I think you got to go to their webpage, Jackson State webpage, to catch that. Saturday against Valley. Valley is 1-14 overall, 0-6 in the SWAC. That's a 1 p.m. Eastern. Starts to pretty much an hour before the football game on HBCU Go. That'll be on Valley Sports Network, which I believe is YouTube. You can catch that on YouTube, and that should be free. So good opportunity on Saturday to watch our volleyball team, and then catch up with football. I'm trying to look at just quickly some other stats here. Nothing here. Well, nothing here that I want to go through. Anything else related to volleyball, guys, before we move back over to football?
Nope. We can start the SWAC roundup.
All right, here we go. SWAC roundup time. Quick recap. Now, how great is this? Last weekend in the SWAC, right? You had seven games. 5 of them were actually SWAC v. SWAC. Of course, our contest against South Carolina State, and then I believe the other one was Bethune playing Tennessee State, which they lost 41-17. But obviously, you had the 2 big games. Jackson State, Alabama State, Southern Prairie View. Each of them had controversies at different points of the game, not necessarily during the game. Southern Prairie View, Coach Dooley from Southern returning to Prairie View, they get into a little scuffle before the game. And of course, it's well documented the post-game stuff with Jackson State and Alabama State. Do you guys think there'll be any, or what would you, if you're the commissioner of the SWAC, what kind of repercussions or suspensions are you dropping on Southern and Prairie View for that little dust up before the game?
I mean, it was some fists that were thrown and some connections.
Oh
So
yes. Oh yes.
it's a lack of sportsmanship. So I can watch the videotape and figure out some, but ultimately some players need to sit for a game. And that's what
Kofi?
I'm anticipating would happen at. I don't know if it be this game or not, but it should be.
I was going to say
But you can't
that's
have
interesting.
that.
Should it be this game or the next SWAC game?
They should have had immediate reaction. Right now, to do that at this late juncture is not fair, right and just. But obviously, here's what I think, right? Because Southern's football team was out there and Dooley was not out there. There was no coaches from the Southern coaching staff that was out there. And from what I understand, they were trouncing on the logo, which of course is a no-no. And I get trying to find your motivation, trying to find XYZ, coming into another man's house and want to do that. I remember when Morgan acted like they were urinating on the rattler, and they spat on the rattler and they stomped on it. And our players heard about it, but they took it out on the field. My question, even if I'm a head administrator, I would get after Dooley, for allowing his players to be out there unsupervised. They're still college students, and from a liability standpoint with the university, that was just a lack of foresight on his behalf, lack of administration on his behalf. And I would go after him personally, but I'm not the commissioner, so it is what it is.
I'll tell you the way I've seen the comments from Coach Dooley and AD Roman Banks, they have both sort of sidestepped responsibility, in my opinion, which I think that in itself, from the commissioner's standpoint, I feel like the commissioner definitely should come down hard for that. Dooley wanted to make, not that they owe anybody any comments, but to publicly not say anything.
And they play Jackson State next week, right?
Yeah. I mean, this week you've got, actually Southern is hosting Alcorn State this week.
Southern has Alcorn, but next week Jackson State and Southern play, right?
No, Jackson State has the Campbell matchup next week.
Oh, okay. And then the following week they play Southern.
I think it's the following week. Yeah.
Okay.
So the question, that's why I said, if you're going to suspend people, and now Prairie View, of course, I think they don't play a conference game this upcoming, or they're on a bye this week. And then I think next week it's an out-of-conference game. So, they've kind of, I just really think, you got to do it on a conference. This was a conference contest. Somebody's got to get suspended for a conference. That's me. Texas Southern beat UAPB. Alabama A&M beat Grambling 37-31 in double overtime. I think that's now, 3 straight wins for A&M or 2 straight? Feels like 3. So they've kind of figured some things out a little bit. Of course, we understand we got Grambling. And then Alcorn State got a 30-7 victory over Valley. All right, so this week, what's in store for everybody this week? Valley's traveling to Alabama State. That's a 2 p.m.
Bama State
Central kickoff. I don't have any lines just yet.
You don't need one.
That now?
Bama State.
I guess we are. Bama State, huh? What about you, Kelvin? Any
didn't Valley upset them last year?
They did beat them last year. Yes, that was at Valley.
They did.
They did.
Yes, yes. I heard the coach talk. Yeah,
but that's why they're not going to do it this year.
Right.
You won't catch them sleeping this year.
Is that Bama State? They still mad because of JSU game. So, Yeah. Alabama State, big.
Jackson State travels all the way out to Jacksonville to take on Bethune-Cookman, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. That's on ESPN Plus. You know, I will give Coach Prime a little bit of credit. He did say some nice things about hoping that the support is there for Bethune-Cookman, although I think he could do more. But I used to feel optimistic about Bethune's chances.
Ain't nobody gonna be in that game.
But I don't. Nope. Stop it. Stop it.
Look,
I know
and here's the thing.
EA is going to remind me about the chicken wing if I go take a look at the chat room bet. I don't know what it is. I think it's 20,000 is what we said. I think it'll be over 20. I'm hoping it'll be over 30 personally, but I
hope it is
about it.
But you know, I saw the first banner here in Jacksonville this week. The thing about these games is you have to have somebody on the ground that's making this game everything. It's a whole team. And we've talked about this before, even with the OBC and other things. If the city is not engaged, the game is not going to be successful. And Jacksonville it has enough African Americans to support this game on its own. But the question is, are those African Americans engaged? Are they talking about it? You know, are you marketing through the high schools? Are you marketing through even Edward Waters? Are you connecting with the local colleges? Are you connected with the local organizations to the point that everybody is all in on this game? And it's an opportunity there for Duval. So I hope everybody shows up.
The people,
hey, like you say, ain't nobody gonna be there. And what hurts this game is my understanding neither bands are going to be there.
What?
Yeah. Well, I remember I knew the Sonic Boom wasn't going to be there. They said that back in August. But you gotta think where if the school has been closed,
right?
You know, it's not like where you're going to put the band. The band's not going to travel like the football team because you don't technically need the band to play the game. The band is an accessory, so to speak. So those kids are probably home or wherever. You know, it's disappointing. I know the city. Oh, EA said Reigns versus Rivalry at 3 p.m. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Kofi? Do they play their game?
Oh, that's
on
a big.
afternoon?
That's a big to do.
Are they playing Saturday afternoon?
No, I think that's the local team, and I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe
no Reigns and Rivalry. If that's at 3 o'clock on that Saturday, that's a wrap. They don't have nobody.
And their colors similar.
What?
I don't know. What are you trying to say, EA? What is EA trying to say? Is EA? Oh my God!
Gotcha.
EA. Now I know why EA said he set me up. This is a setup. You set me up. You knew this Range Revalry thing was happening, EA. Look, I'm gonna give you your chicken wings, but I feel really set up by this deal. You knew Range and Revalry was playing if that's actually what's going on. But
that's
anyway,
a Soul Bowl.
I'm gonna leave. Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous. All right, moving forward. Alcorn Southern. Big matchup in the West. I believe Alcorn is in first place now. Southern is rolling. Woo! How do you? Ooh, this is a tough one.
I'm gonna go Southern at home. They pulled it out last year. Alcorn obviously has the credibility, obviously, to win this game. They won at McNeese, so winning at Southern won't prove. But the way that Southern is playing right now, I was watching the game with Prairie View. Their guys are getting in a ton of space. Like nobody's around them for yards and yards. These guys are just running open down the field. And I thought it was an aberration against UAPB, right? So I was like, wow, well, that's just UAPB. But I saw the guys wide open again against Prairie View on the road, and I was like, they're doing something schematically that's putting these guys in open space. And, now Alcorn's defense is different, and they can run the ball. And so it's going to be definitely a competitive game. But playing in Mumford with those referees, I'm going to give it to Southern. 35-31.
I'm gonna go with Southern too. Like Kofi, I rewatched that Prairie View game, and the thing about Southern offensively right now is that they're very balanced. They can beat you multiple ways. They got two backs that are the truth, that run hard and can break away in space. Then they got receivers, man, and to my surprise, the quarterback look like he's found a comfortability in the offense, and he's hitting those receivers, man. He's hitting them. So they
he
look
can
like
run.
I was waiting
like
on somebody
right
to
now.
give some credit to the quarterback. I mean, all he's done is, what he runs and throws. He's accounted for 9 touchdowns over the past 2 weeks. Yeah, probably averaging close to 400 something yards of total offense, passing and running. So yeah, I mean, Caps weren't talking too much about him not too long ago. Actually talking about replacing him. So you're going with Southern too?
Yes.
Yeah.
10.
Looking at the
10.
Wow, Southern by 10. Massey ratings has Southern as a 6.5 point favorite. Ooh, this is tough, man. Last year, who won this game? Southern won this game, or Alcorn State won this last year?
Southern won the game.
On the
but
road.
Alcorn missed multiple opportunities inside the red zone.
Ooh.
That ain't happening this year.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna go Alcorn. I think some suspensions are gonna come down late in the week. I mean, it's Wednesday. I think the commissioner has every right to drop the suspensions as long as he does it by Friday at noon. Anything after noon is wrong. But if he does them tomorrow or late tomorrow afternoon or evening, I got a feeling there's going to be a few Southern players suspended. I think that might affect. There might be a few starters mixed in that. I'm gonna just take a chance. I'm gonna go Alcorn State by maybe a field goal. I'm gonna go Alcorn State by a field goal. Alabama A&M and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now, this is interesting. This game was supposed to be in St. Louis, Missouri. But as our Mo Carter, who we talked to a couple of weeks ago, I saw him report this earlier this evening. The game is no longer in St. Louis. It'll be played in Arkansas Pine Bluff because of some ticketing issues with the in the St. Louis with the Dome Stadium or the promoters. Really tragic. If you go back and if you're connected to Mo, really tragic what's going on there. And I don't know if that's also in fact because they got the playoffs going on, the baseball playoffs happening in St. Louis. So it could be one of those situations where I'm speculating they didn't want anything else happening. What are you shaking your head? What are you shaking your head? What?
That ain't why.
What am I missing?
No,
that
ain't got nothing to do
That ain't why.
Nothing
to do with it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. What do you know that I don't know? Tell me. Come on, speak on it.
I just know.
What?
I mean, we played the whole Atlanta Classic, and the Braves was in the playoffs. That ain't got nothing to do with it.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a home game for UAPB against Alabama A&M. Who do you guys got?
A&M.
A&M.
Okay. One other game outside of the SWAC that I think is pretty interesting that we'll add to the sheet. Morgan State at North Carolina Central. Now, this is a game that is going to be played tomorrow, Thursday night football. North Carolina Central's been on a bye after getting beat up by Campbell.
But it's going to be close.
Morgan, you don't let me get the setup. Anyway, You got Morgan or Central?
Central.
Central. All right. Who do you got?
Morgan's going to be quite competitive, but I'll be shocked if Central lost this game.
Okay. What about you, Kel?
I'm not sold on Central. I think they're good, they're capable, but I don't know if they're as good as people thought. You got to remember they got a win against VUL and D2 alone. So
They
I
beat
don't know.
A&T.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Morgan, I like Morgan, man. I do. I'm going Morgan by a touchdown with the upset.
Morgan on short rest. I mean, they just played Saturday, lost a heartbreaker, and now they're gonna turn around and play Thursday while North Carolina Central's been on a bye.
Yeah, they let they was homecoming and they let Norfolk State score with a minute and 3 seconds left. So that was unfortunate, but I'm gonna go with Morgan.
All right. Game coming up here. FAMU, Grambling. I want to look here very quickly here. Let me see. Just as I'm just trying to get ready for Grambling State. Overall, these teams have only played. Obviously, we're picking FAMU, Kofi. Grambling, we've only played Grambling 16 times previously. You would think that two programs with such great history would have played more, but it's only been 16 times that the two schools have played each other. Grambling 10-6, of course, 26-3. FAMU won last year, thanks in large part to a great homecoming crowd. What's that?
It should be 10-7.
Okay. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm just reading out of the press guide.
According to the stats, I think this is the 17th meeting, so it'll be 10-7 this time.
Yeah, well, I said we've played 16 times, and it's 10-6. So yes, this is the 17th meeting. So I guess we're both saying the same thing in different ways. All right, how did the Rattlers win this game, Kelvin and Kofi? I guess that's the question I was trying to lead us into. So how does FAMU win this game?
FAMU wins this game by playing unadulterated Rattler football. Play fast, play hard, play physical, and limit the mistakes. No mistakes, especially interceptions. And that's basically it. We turn the ball over, we're going to be in trouble. And they also have to ride the wave of Grambling's intensity opening up the game. They're going to come out fired up. They're going to come out ready to play. We can't be lethargic. We got to be ready to go from jump.
Kelvin?
To me, it's the same format as the South Carolina State game. We need the defense to be strong again, keep them under 300 yards of total offense, turnovers, create 2-3 turnovers, and the offense not to turn the ball over. I done gave up having a running game for the rest of the season. I just gave up on that. But limit turnovers and we got to execute, because this is a dangerous game, just like South Carolina State. If we don't bring our A game, we can lose. But with that being said, I think we'll find a way. We'll win by maybe 10.
So optimistic. I can hear it in your voice. Grambling's given up 35 points a game in conference, scoring just about 21 per game. FAMU scoring about 25 a game in conference, allowing 30 in conference. Of course, that's heavily skewed probably for both schools, given that they play Jackson State. I guess if you wanted to really use a metric, take out the Jackson State game and then kind of see what both teams statistically look like. Jackson State, Grambling, they've been running 3 quarterbacks. I think they've started the 3rd quarterback for the 3rd consecutive week. Look, this is going to come down to play calling and originality. I think after seeing and hearing, that 4th quarter and seeing what we've seen, I think this is where Coach Simmons is going to have his best plan and call his best game. Or he and the offensive coaches are going to have to put together
Every
the best
game
plan.
gonna have to be his best game for me on that. It's ridiculous.
From here, you think from here on out it's going to have to be that way? You might be right. I
I mean,
think
we're
there's
in
a level
playoff
of
mode. We are literally in playoff mode right now. We're in the playoffs. If we have any postseason aspirations, we gotta win.
For some reason, to me, this doesn't feel like a playoff run, and maybe that's because I still have the taste of 59-3 or whatever that was. It's not a 1-point ball game.
Even
are not
if
one
don't.
That's
point
gone. That's over
closer.
with, Brian. That's done. That's in the rearview mirror.
But
we are
hold
who
on.
we are. We are going to be better
Yes,
than every team we play, with exception. Yeah, we'll be better than every team we play. Honestly, the only thing that still challenges is Southern. So we should be 9-2. That will get us in, and then we get our teeth kicked in again, unless this team improves.
No,
it is what
sorry.
it is.
I want to be optimistic that 9-2 will get us in. Now, 9-2 will get us in. If we, I don't know about that. We got to beat some people
9-2
by
will get
20.
us in.
I'll take that bet.
9-2 gonna get us in with a D1 loss. Yeah, it'll get us in.
And a 59-3
But the thing
loss.
is,
everybody know what happened at the beginning of the season. They're gonna take that in consideration. Everybody know that we didn't have our full allotment of players and all the foolishness with the compliance.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I think we need to play yes.
We got to play. Obviously, got to play a lot better. But you got Grambling.
Thank you.
UAPB is homecoming. Southern's coming into town. That's going to be huge. Bama State on the road is going to be a beast, and Cookman's going to give it all they got. So we got some tough games coming down the stretch. Are we better than these teams on paper? Yes, but we got to finish.
Yeah. Sniper got him. Jackson State needs to keep winning. Southern needs to keep winning, and Alabama State need to keep winning because we need good wins. Teams with winning records, and when we beat them, so.
All right.
That's our
hopefully that'll happen. I hope that FAMU can win this contest by more than 2 touchdowns. I hope that's possible. That's all I can say. All right. So we all will be tuned in 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central, HBCU Go. That game will be in Grambling, at Grambling in the Hole. So if you're heading out that way to the game, safe travels to you. We wish you well. Again, next week's show, we'll definitely get into breaking down more of the process that brought us our new athletic director as we do our own research. And I'm sure you guys will too over the course of the next week. But that's it. We'll be rooting for volleyball on Friday night. So make sure to tune into that. Hopefully we can get a win out there. I'm just hopeful. Got a new AD in place. Dawn of a new day. I'm hopeful. There's a lot of hope in the air. Keep hope alive. That's going to do it for tonight's show. For my producer, Mel, we thank you. For the guys, Kelvin and Kofi. Got to give a special thank you again to Curtis Ford and Joshua Padilla, who will be at Grambling, bringing all of the social media and information for those of us who won't be able to make it. And then we thank Coach Shalon Pillow, and really excited about what she's having the opportunity to build. And so we just pray for good health and hope that that this is the start of something new. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. Kelvin Kofi, I'm Brian Fulford, Rattler Nation. Make sure you send a tweet out to not Coach, but AD Sykes. That's Tiffany Dawn Sykes. Make sure you let her know welcome if you haven't already, and then tell her that she needs to come on the O&G Strike Zone and introduce yourself to Rattler Nation with us the right way. You guys stay strong, be safe, and when you're out there in those streets, make sure you strike, and strike again. Good night, everybody. Peace out.